Hey guys, Dustin here, and welcome to another episode of Horroritis. Now, you may be asking yourself why this episode is an audio-only episode, and well, the story behind that is after I took a short break to go on vacation with the family, things kind of ended up in a state of flux here at the Horroritis studio, aka my house, and my room that I record in has been turned into a temporary storage area. I do, however, have a room that is suitable to record audio in, so I figured I would take a step back to an earlier time when I used to podcast and see if maybe that format will work on this channel. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, the way I wanted to do this is kind of like a horror roundup, discussing the things that have come out in the news and the upcoming things in the horror world. And the first thing I want to talk about right now is season 6 of American Horror Story. So they released a teaser trailer, and as with all American Horror Story teasers, this one left us scratching our heads. I mean, it's a house out in the middle of nowhere. It actually kind of looks like a live action Courage the Cowardly Dog, which I would be totally into. I mean, if anybody out there thinks about making a live action Courage, I am down. You've got my money. Like, straight up. I'm just saying that right now. But aside from that, you've got your Courage the Cowardly Dog house, and then there's a bunch of blades and sixes everywhere, of course, because it's season 6. And then we see Lady Gaga with bright blue eyes and this giant centipede crawling through her hair and down her face. And in the end, we still have no idea what is going on. So it doesn't give us any clues really on what to expect or what to look forward to, or really what this thing is going to be about. So a couple of days ago, some pictures were actually leaked from the set, and what we see is it looks kind of like a colonial setting, like a colonial fort and things like that. And eventually we see a picture of a tree with Croatoan carved into it. And that leads me to believe that this season of American Horror Story is actually going to be about the lost Roanoke colony. And, aside from being amazingly cool, that also ties season 6 into the much larger wraparound story that all the seasons are connected. Because if you remember back to season 1, they tried to use a Croatoan spell to exorcise the house. At least that's kind of how I remember it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of slept through seasons 1, 2, and like half of 3. I didn't really get into the show until Coven and Freak Show seasons. And if you know me, then you know that sounds pretty normal. The one thing that I do hope for this season of American Horror Story is that we have less sex scenes. I understand that, from the beginning, sex is kind of played heavily into the show, but honestly, with Hotel, I mean, I know they introduced Lady Gaga to kind of spice up the show and add a little edge to it, but honestly, there was so much there that we don't need any more sex scenes, especially featuring Lady Gaga. What that show needed was far less sex and more murder. That's basically what we need. I wanted to see more of the hotel and all the death chutes and the secret passages and stuff like that. That was the stuff that was awesome, not Lady Gaga doing Lady Gaga stuff, honestly. So hopefully in season 6, we'll have more horror and less sex, but honestly, I'm not really holding my breath for it. Also, what came out this week is the trailer for the movie Split. M. Night Shyamalan is at it again, and this time he's brought along James McAvoy for the ride. McAvoy plays Kevin, who has multiple personalities, about 23 of them, and one of which kidnaps 3 girls for some mysterious yet undoubtedly nefarious purpose. I'll be honest, I've been turned off by Shyamalan movies ever since The Village. We watched that, and at first I thought, oh, good premise with poor execution. But really, the ending killed it for everybody who disliked it, really. And then after that, you had Lady in the Water, which to me was so disappointing that I couldn't watch another Shyamalan movie after that. Until, that is, of course, The Visit came out. And I did watch The Visit, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And actually, I'm going to have to get around to making a full video review on that because it was a good movie. I really did enjoy it. But it looks like this trailer, it looks like this movie is going to be very good. And it kind of looks like Shyamalan's going to be back on an upswing with his movies. Will he get back to his status from Sixth Sense? That really remains to be seen. We'll have to keep watching. But I want to get a poll going on this movie. So down in the comments, let me know. How long into this movie do you think it's going to be before James McAvoy gets all spitty? And if you don't know what I mean, this is what I mean. In every McAvoy movie, he gets very emotional or is making a speech, and suddenly the man has far, far too much saliva in his mouth. And sometimes he'll just fly out as he's talking, or it'll run down his chin. Or the worst thing is when it just decides to hang out between his teeth and make these long spitty strands between his upper and lower teeth the whole time. You can go back and you can verify this. Go back and check out any McAvoy movie. You'll see it. And you will never be able to watch another movie with James McAvoy the same way ever again. And now that I think about it, I apologize for doing that to you. I'm sorry. The one thing I really am looking forward to this year is in October we get season 2 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. And already we've got tons of stuff to be excited about for this show. Lee Majors is coming in as Ash's dad, which is really, really awesome. Ted Raimi is coming in as Ash's childhood friend. And Michelle Hurd will be playing the 4th incarnation of Linda. If you've been paying attention to the movies, you know that each movie, the character of Linda has been played by a different actress for various reasons. So in season 2, we will be seeing a 4th actress portraying the character, which will be interesting to see because even though she's been played by different actresses in every movie, the end result is she's been dead since the very first time they went to the cabin. So it'll be interesting to see what they're doing there. Also, Joel Tobeck will be playing the new villain, Baal. And if you know anything about your demons, you know that Baal is not somebody to be messed with. So it'll be interesting to see if he can, if Tobeck can ramp things up. I want to see if he can be more evil than Ruby, because you know Ruby was good, but Baal should be better. Bruce Campbell has also said in an interview that season 2 will have an episode featured around the Delta 88, which is Ash's car all through season 1, and it's been in all 3 of the Evil Dead movies, and Sam Raimi's found a way to work it into just about every movie he's ever directed. So if you've seen any of his movies, you probably know the car I'm talking about. So according to Bruce Campbell, in the episodes surrounding the Delta 88, there is what he describes as perhaps the worst on-screen death in all of visual arts. So there's that. Personally, I'm very excited, and I cannot wait to see season 2. All right, so let's talk a minute about Stranger Things. Now, because this show is pretty fresh, I'm not going to give any spoilers here. However, if you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor right now, pause this, go watch it, watch the entire season. We'll wait for you. Just go ahead and do it, and then come on back. Okay, so I love this series. My wife and I, we binged watched the entire thing first day Netflix released it because, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. If you weren't meant to watch the entire series all at once, they wouldn't release all of the episodes all at once. That's the way I think about it. So, and I know a lot of people are probably going to agree with me there. Somehow it feels more 80s than the actual 1980s did. It has nods and references to like every 80s movie you've ever seen, you know, and it's Goonies and E.T. and Poltergeist and, you know, all of the great movies from the 80s. They're all somehow referenced, and in some cases you have to watch an episode more than once to catch all the references, and it's really fun. One of my favorite authors, actually, Larry Correia, he described it as the best John Carpenter movie directed by someone other than John Carpenter. And that description feels pretty accurate to me. Funny story though, my wife and I, while we were watching this, she kept comparing me to the character Dustin, and not just because we have the same name. There's actually a scene where they're trying to gather supplies, binoculars and knives and stuff for a mission, and Dustin comes in and drops this duffel bag full of snacks. And right there, my wife used that case in point, he's you. And, I couldn't deny it. And she also didn't fail to make the point again later on in the series when they're at the school and Dustin is searching for the stash of pudding that he is positive the lunch lady has been hiding from him. And honestly, the point of the story is that Dustin is my favorite character from Stranger Things. That's pretty much it. And because Stranger Things was such a hit, the chief executive at Netflix actually said that it would be dumb of them not to do a second season. And the Duffer Brothers, the guys that created the show, actually agree and say that season 2 that they're working on is actually going to be much darker than this already dark season 1. So I'm very excited to see where they go and what they add in and exactly how they make it darker. And I expect nothing but good things from this series. Okay, so the last thing on the list that I want to talk about in this video is in October, we're also getting the remake of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, I am not looking forward to this, I'm going to be honest. I grew up watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. As weird as that may seem, I've been watching it since I was a little kid. It's kind of a weird family tradition that we have. And I think from what I've seen of this remake, I've seen the trailers, and I've read the interviews, and I've read the reviews, and everything I've seen so far, it feels like that this movie will do a disservice to the fans of the original. It almost feels like they're either mocking the fans or they don't understand what made the original movie so special in the first place. And it's not just me that thinks that. Richard O'Brien, the guy that actually created the show, he wrote the play, made the movie, he was Riff Raff, is not actually affiliated with this remake. He decided to stay far away from it. And in an interview, he said that he felt this movie was misconceived and badly cast. And he went on to say that the producer and the director seem to have missed the point entirely. And from everything I've seen, I think he is absolutely correct. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is the Rocky Horror Picture Show remake gonna suck, or is it gonna be awesome? Is Dustin the greatest character from Stranger Things or not? Are you excited to see Lee Majors be Ash's dad in Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2? Let me know in the comments. Let's get a conversation going. Let's get a fight started. Let's do something interesting down there. Also, let me know if you like this format. We can do more like this. I hope to do more like this just to keep showing up and get back into the habit of putting out content anyway. But if you like this, we can definitely do more of them more often. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give me the thumbs up, like this video, pass it around. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and do that now. And as always, I'm Dustin. This was Horroritis. And until next time, keep it creepy, friends.